Good morning, Your Honor. Lou Danner for the people.
Lauren Brown, Deputy Chief Public Defender, appearing with and on behalf of Mr. Newbern. Mr. Newbern, please state your name for the record.
Kendall Newbern.
Your Honor, today is the date and time set for the probable cause conference. We are respectfully requesting this matter be set for a preliminary examination. We may, however, need to have this set for a special date.
Pardon?
We may need to have this set for a special date, one, so that we think.
Understood. It is a homicide.
Yes.
I have.
Is there some desire to have it I guess sooner? The people would be requesting a later date just to make sure we have all witnesses available, and that if I'm going to be doing it or someone else is going to be doing it, just to get that taken care of.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we factored in. So a later date will be fine with us.
When you're talking later, I have the 31st, the 7th, or the 14th, or did you want to go beyond that, gentlemen?
Okay, actually, Mr. Overwater will be conducting it. Mr. Overwater, are you on and available?
I am on. I'm assuming we're going to want a date in November, Judge.
You're going to want a date in November? All right.
Yes, sir.
No, I was November 14th. I'm looking at Washington. So, okay, gotcha. Preliminary examination will be November 14th, 2023, 9 a.m. That's before Judge Burke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bond will continue. All right, thank you. Court calls the case of People versus Russell Koville.
Morning, Your Honor. Marie Rasinski on behalf of the people, seeking permission to practice pursuant to Michigan Court Rule 8.120 under the supervision of First Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Nimish Ganatra.
Permission to practice is granted. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Joy Gaines, Senior Assistant Public Defender, representing Mr. Koville. Your Honor, we received an offer this morning, and I would like a little bit of time to discuss that with Mr. Koville. We're asking for a 1-week adjournment and to address bond.
Mr. Koville, can you state your name, please?
Russell Koville.
All right. Preliminary or probable cause conference in this matter will be adjourned out 1 week to October 19th, 2023, 9 a.m. As to bond, briefly.
Your Honor, Mr. Koville is a retiree. He's worked his whole working life, over 40 years in Michigan. He has only had one prior contact with the criminal justice system of domestic violence 7 years ago. This is, we're asking that the court consider these things. He can reside with his brother and has no objection to a GPS tether, and to having whatever conditions that the court would put in place for the safety of the complainant.
Response.
Your Honor, the people would ask that bond remain the same. The prior domestic violence charge was with the same victim, and in this case, the defendant pushed the victim to the floor and put all his body weight on her, punched her in the head multiple times, and strangled her. She lost consciousness and thought she was going to die. He kept saying he'd kill her, and when she tried to escape through the back door, he pulled her back in by the hair. The victim suffered a concussion, had a clump of hair ripped out, had blood on her pants, bloodshot eyes, swelling around her neck, and a cut on her nose. And she stated that this lasted around 2 hours.
Your Honor, again, Mr. Koville is willing to not go back to the family home, not have any contact with her. There are a few things that he shared with me regarding his health and specifically sleeping and medication he takes that I believe, or he believes, might have impacted that situation. Again, in all the time that they've been together, it's been 7 years since that previous incident, and this is not the norm, and we are hoping that the court will give him this opportunity.
In looking at the bond sheet and the notes from the magistrate, there was he did say, or at least it's indicated here, that he would kill her. And specifically, it's noted that he called her mother saying, I want your mom to hear your last breath. And he called the sister and brother-in-law also.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I just did want to say that in terms of the police report did not include any mention of the calling of his mother, but in terms of the calling of the sister and his brother-in-law, he did, at least the way the police report read, call them to help with diffusing the situation. But again, I do believe that there are some extenuating circumstances related to that whole night.
Maybe at some point we'll get that out, but based upon what I'm seeing here, motion for bond reduction is denied. Bond will continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court does call the case People versus Charles House.
Maria Sinski on behalf of the people.
All right.
Ready, Judge. Torsho Feaster, Assistant Public Defender, on behalf of Mr. Charles House. Mr. House, please state your name for the record.
Charles House.
Thank you, Judge. My understanding is we were here a couple of weeks ago, at which time Ms. Gaines was looking into some services for Mr. House. It appears our AIM division is working with Miss Sarah Stewart at the jail to get him some services. And I believe we need about 4 weeks adjournment to try to get that completed and any mitigation information that comes out of that. What's that, Mr. House?
You said 4 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm asking
Probable
for,
cause conference then will, without objection, be adjourned to November 9th, 2023. 9 a.m. Bond will continue.
Thank you, Judge.
Hey,
Thank you.
I want to inquire about my phone privileges.
I believe Mr. House had a hearing with Ms. Gaines in your honor on this a couple of weeks ago. I think your honor at that time suspended his phone privileges. Mr. House and I have not broached that subject, but it sounds like he's asking that your honor consider reinstating his phone privileges. I'm sure he'd have no objection to a block on whichever phone number he allegedly or did call. That was the nature of the original hearing on the phone call, Judge.
Well, his phone privileges weren't suspended.
Oh.
He admitted to 2 violations of regarding phone contact. And I revoked his phone privileges, and I see no reason to change that at this point.
Okay. We'll be in touch,
That will
Mr. House, and we'll file a motion if we find it necessary, Mr. House. So we'll talk. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Court does call the case People versus, is it Conjule Burton?
Maria Sinski on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Sylvana Reed, Assistant Public Defender on behalf of Mr. Burton. Could you state your name for the record, sir?
Azure Burton.
Thank you. Your Honor, we would like to set this matter for preliminary exam, and then I would like to address bond when appropriate.
Are all discovery issues taken care of?
We are still looking for video, but Mr. Burton.
And why am I
does not
setting
want-
it for a preliminary examination
Mr.
if
Burton
discovery is
does not
not
want-
done? What?
Mr. Burton has informed me he does not want to have this adjourned.
All right. I'm going to indicate so that the judge that this is assigned to that you're basically waiving presentation of that discovery prior to preliminary examination. You understand that, Mr. Burton?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Preliminary examination in this matter will be set in person on,
'24th, I'm sorry, Judge.
I see you scratched it out. October 24th, 2023, 9 a.m., and that is before Judge Barr. Bond will continue.
Could I address bond?
Or you wanted to address bond? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Burton is wondering if it would be possible to be released on a home confinement tether. He does have a home in Tipton, Michigan, where he lives with his wife and children.
Response.
Your Honor, the people would ask the bond remain the same. In this case, the victim and the defendant were dating, but taking a break, and the defendant was let into the victim's home by the roommate. And the defendant pulled a gun on the roommate and on the victim, and the roommate was able to escape the trailer and call for help. And the victim was able to close the door on the defendant and also call for help. And they were both afraid that the defendant was going to kill them with the gun. And he does have a previous CSC first, weapons, firearm, and armed robbery that he was found guilty for in 1992.
Any response to that?
No response, Your Honor.
Motion for bond reductions denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Court calls the case of the people versus Danzel Owens.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ali Zund on behalf of the people seeking permission to practice pursuant to Michigan Court Rule 8.120 under the supervision of First Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Nimish Ganatra.
Permission to practice is granted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sylvana Reed, Assistant Public Defender with and on behalf of Mr. Owens. Could you state your name for the record, sir?
Danzel Owens.
Thank you. And Your Honor, for this one, we would like to adjourn for the video discovery.
Cause conference will be adjourned October 26, 2023, 9 a.m. for discovery reasons. Yes.
At this time, the people will be asking that his phone privileges be revoked. He's started calling the victim on October 4th in three-way connections with his mother, and then continued on with direct calls to the victim. And in one of the calls, he acknowledges that he knows he's not supposed to be calling her as it could result in additional charges. And so at this time, we think his phone privileges should be revoked.
Any response?
No response, Your Honor.
The defendant's phone privileges are hereby ordered revoked. If you wish the court to consider that or reconsider that, then you may set a hearing. But at this time, his phone privileges stand revoked. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Court calls the case of the people versus Lawrence Glenn Powers.
Ali Zund on behalf of the people.
And good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Chinazi Kiriakin-Ruli on behalf of Mr. Lawrence Glenn Powers. Mr. Glenn Powers, could you state your name for the record, please?
Lawrence Glenn Powers.
Thank you. All right, what are we doing on these three cases?
Your Honor, Mr. Glenn Powers would respectfully request that this matter be set for preliminary examination.
Preliminary examination in person will be set October 24th, 2023, 9 a.m., and that is before Judge Barr. Bond will continue in these matters. You. Nobody else? Court does call the case of the people versus Shatia Gibbs.
Rear Zinsky on behalf of the people.
Sandra White on behalf of Shatia Gibbs.
Shatia Gibbs.
Ms. White,
Yes.
this is another one.
Yes.
Jeez, oh Pete. All right. You're permitted to withdraw. I think they've appointed Ms. Constantino. Is she here?
Yes.
Oh,
you
there
have.
she is.
Judge, good morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Christina
You're
Constantino appearing on behalf of Ms. Gibbs.
All right. And what are we doing on this today?
Your Honor, given that I was just appointed on the matter, I am requesting an adjournment of the PCC so I can get full discovery and have an opportunity to have some meaningful discussions with my client.
All right. Probable cause conference will be adjourned to November 2nd.
Thank you very much, Judge.
9 a.m. Bond continued. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, you do the same. I think I got it. Court does call the case, People versus William White Jr. 2 case.
Maria Sinski on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Joy Gaines, Senior Assistant Public Defender, representing Mr. White. Mr. White, would you please state your name for the record?
William White Jr.
What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are requesting to be able to address bond and also an adjournment in order to have more time to look at the media and receive other discovery.
Cause conference in this matter will be adjourned October 26, 2023, 9 a.m. as to bond.
Your Honor, Mr. White is employed. He's been working at Chipotle for several years. He has his own residence. He does not reside with the complainant. He indicates that he will return to court. We are asking that the court consider releasing him on a GPS tether so that the court would be aware of where he was at all times, and that he only be allowed to go from home to work. He has no objection to that.
The second case, the bribing, intimidating, interfering witnesses, and obstruction of justice charge, that flows out of the other case. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So while on bond on the one case, he picked up a new charge of potentially bribing, intimidating, or interfering with witness and obstructing justice. Motion for bond reduction is denied. Go ahead.
I believe that he was arraigned on this case, the 2 cases at the same time. I'm not aware of him being out on bond on the domestic case. My understanding is he was arraigned on both at the same time.
But the nature of the charge comes out of, he might have been arraigned at the same time. Okay. But the nature of the offenses come out of the other case. Is that correct? That was a question.
That's my understanding, Your Honor.
Motion for bond reduction denied. Bond will continue.
Thank you.
Case of People versus Samuel Grievous.
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura Willenbring on behalf of the people.
Sylvana Reed, Assistant Public Defender with and on behalf of Mr. Grievous. Could you please state your name for the record, sir?
Mr. Grievous, can you state your name?
Oh, Samuel Grievous, sorry.
Thank you. All right, what are we doing?
Your Honor, Ms. Willenbring has informed me that there is a supplemental report coming, hopefully sometime today. And while I do trust that it is hopefully going to be here, I would like to adjourn possibly for just 1 week on this matter so that we can review those supplemental reports with Mr. Grievous.
Probable cause conference, October 19th, 2023, 9 a.m. Bond continued.
Thank you.
19. Court calls case People versus Brandon Forson.
Nicole Hughes on behalf of the people.
An Assistant Public Defender, Emily New, on behalf of Brandon Forson. Mr. Forson, can you please state your name?
Brandon Forson.
What are we doing?
And Your Honor, we're asking to set this case for a preliminary examination.
All discovery issues taken care of?
So there is a possible pending charge coming. I don't want to create delay in this case because of that, but as far as I know, there would be.
Is the charge related to this case, or is it just in a different case?
It's drugs from this traffic stop that are at the lab that I do not have results on. So they would,
be added to this case. However, I mean, I'm not waiving my right to bring a second case should the defense push this case forward too quickly.
Preliminary examination will be set in person October 24th, 2023, 9 a.m. before Judge Washington.
Thank you.
Bond continued. Court calls case of the people versus Abraham Altimini.
Alex Chabalowski for the people.
Kenneth Overwater, Assistant Public Defender, on behalf of Mr. Altimini. Mr. Altimini is here. He's been having technical difficulties, so I don't know if he's going to be able to state his name for the record. But Mr. Altimini, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
yes,
please state your name for the record.
Mr.
All right.
Timimi. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. All right, what are we doing on this?
Judge, there's still some video that's outstanding on these matters. Some of it has been tendered, but Mr. Chabalowski indicated that there's another video that they don't have yet. So I'd ask to adjourn the PCC so we can get the video.
Probable cause conference will be adjourned November 2nd, 2023, 9 a.m. Bond continued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Altimini, call me when you have a phone.
Okay, I will. You said my court date is October 23rd?
November 2nd.
November 2nd? All right, thank you.
That was close. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Court calls the case, people versus Zachariah Haruska Dennis.
Morning again, Alex Chabalowski for the people.
Kenneth Overwater, Assistant Public Defender, on behalf of Mr. Haruska Dennis. Mr. Haruska Dennis, can you state your name for the record, please?
Yeah, Zachariah Haruska Dennis.
Your Honor, with regard to the MDOB charge, the police reports, I don't have them on base yet, so I'd ask to adjourn this matter for 1 week.
You want to adjourn both cases, though, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. We're hoping to seek a global resolution with these two matters and other misdemeanor matters.
Probable cause adjourned October 19th, 2023, 9 a.m. Bond continued.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
19.
Court calls case of the people versus Christopher Smith.
Marie Wasinski on behalf of the people.
And Edward Drukas on behalf of Christopher Smith. You're going to, there are two things we'd like to do today. One would be to set this for a preliminary examination, and the other is to address bond.
Mr. Smith, can you state your name, sir?
Christopher Smith.
Thank you. Preliminary examination will be set in person October 24th, 2023, 9 a.m. before Judge Barr. As to bond.
With regard to bond, if he were to be released, he's unable to post the current bond. However, he would be residing in Detroit. We do have an address that he could potentially be stay at, and he works in Detroit. He would not have any connection to Washtenaw County, and these are the only things that are currently pending for him. So we would not be opposed to a tether.
Your Honor, we would ask that bond remain the same. In this case, the defendant came at the victim with a hammer and tried to hit her with it and then pushed her to the ground. They have a history of domestic violence, and the defendant also has a previous police officer fleeing third in 2002, found guilty, an arson house, 2005, guilty, an attempt to possess dangerous weapon in 2001, guilty. And in addition, the defendant has been contacting the victim from the jail. He's called her 24 times since he's been in there, since October 1st. So we would ask that his phone privileges be revoked.
Any response to any of that, Mr. Drukas?
The allegations regarding a hammer, I think, are in a little bit of a dispute because the allegations, I think, are a little bit different. He I haven't, not aware of any phone calls that he's been making. But I wouldn't, when I talked to him, he said he would not have contact with her if he were to be released.
Well, they have phone privileges. Certainly you can have a hearing on that, but at this time, the defendant's phone privileges are revoked. The request for bond reduction in this matter is denied. Bond will continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Court calls the case, People versus Aaron Jackson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Joy Gaines, Senior Assistant Public Defender, representing Mr. Jackson.
Sorry, Judge Alex Chabalowski for people.
Your Honor, we are here to
Mr.
address.
Jackson, can you state your name, please?
Yes, Aaron James Jackson.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Gaines.
Thank you. Your Honor, we're here to address two things. We'd like to address bond as well as to set Mr. Jackson's case for a preliminary exam.
Preliminary examination in this matter will be set in person October 24th, 2023, at 9 a.m. That'll help you. Yeah, Judge Barr. As to bond.
Your Honor, as you can see, Mr. Jackson has in fact turned himself in. He has been sober at this point for, he states, 17 days. I believe that we addressed previously that he has been going to support meetings throughout this time. In fact, his sponsor is the one who dropped him off at the jail. Mr. Jackson reports having a very supportive.
Before you go on, Ms. Gaines, did he turn himself in or did he get picked up?
He turned himself in. That's what I'm saying. His sponsor.
Finally?
Yes.
17 days ago?
Your Honor, his sponsor drove him to turn himself in Tuesday. He states he's been clean 17 days. Yes, Your Honor.
But I ordered him in on September 21st and he didn't turn himself in.
That is correct. And
so now you want me to release him?
I'm asking that you release him on Scram Tether. As I was about to say, he has a very supportive community and he has continued to maintain his contact specifically with his recovery community, which played a crucial part, and that with his 17 days sober in having his mind and for him to turn himself in. It is at the very beginning stages of his recovery, but he has been able to recognize the importance of turning himself in and of dealing with this matter. Mr. Jackson has had, as you're aware, a while ago, some criminal history, and he's worked very hard and had a period of sobriety so that he could get his own place, have a job. He has a very supportive community at his job, in his sobriety, in himself turning himself in. So we are asking that he be given the opportunity to be on Scram Tether, to go back to the community and to work. He also has been in communication with our social work team, and they are working with him to get him into an outpatient treatment program so he can keep his employment and all the things that he's worked all these years to build up. If Your Honor is not going to release him, Tether, we would ask that in the alternative that upon either a payment of a $5,000 10% cash bond, or in the alternative upon showing his appointment for intake for substance abuse treatment, that he be able to be released.
I don't need a response. The defendant waited almost 3 weeks after the court ordered him to turn himself in on his schedule. Doesn't work that way. Motion for bond reduction is denied. Bond will continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Court calls the case, People versus Travis Williams.
Nimish Ganatra, First Assistant.